Hello everyone. Welcome to Sam's Summaries. This episode is a deep dive discussion into Sam Fury's summary of the book Tools of Titans by Timothy Ferriss. It has been created with the help of AI. You can read the original summary at samfury.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a deep dive into a book that is absolutely packed with advice from some seriously successful people. We're talking about Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans. And I know our listeners are all about that actionable advice, so we're going to focus on the most surprising and useful stuff.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is that Tim Ferriss doesn't just skim the surface with these folks. He really digs deep into their routines and habits and even some of their, quirks to understand what makes them tick.
Absolutely. So we're going to kick things off with the health section. That's the first part of the book. Ferriss dives into some pretty extreme approaches to well-being.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Amelia Boone?
Have not.
Okay. So this woman, dominates obstacle course racing. I mean, we're talking winning championships and bouncing back from injuries. It's nothing.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And her dedication and resilience are really striking. Ferriss highlights how she manages to juggle this really intense training with a demanding career, which I think demonstrates that, pushing limits can apply to any area of life.
Totally. It's almost like she's biohacking her entire existence.
Right.
Which actually brings us to another fascinating person that Ferriss features, Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
Okay.
And she is all about optimizing health and longevity. But she goes way beyond your typical, vitamins and green smoothies.
Sure.
So one of the things she talks about is banking stem cells from teeth. Apparently, the dental pulp is this rich source of stem cells, which could be valuable for therapies in the future.
So it makes you wonder, what else are we kind of overlooking in terms of cutting-edge health practices?
Exactly, right. And it gets even wilder. She's a huge advocate for saunas, and she claims that they can actually boost growth hormone. Yeah. It's not just about relaxation. The intense heat triggers something called heat shock proteins, which have been linked to all sorts of health benefits. What do you think about that? Have you ever, considered saunas?
It's definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
Ferriss then moves on to the world of ketogenic diets and fasting with Dr. Dominic D'Agostino.
Yeah.
Now, keto, for anyone who's not familiar, is basically shifting your body into a state of ketosis where it burns fat for fuel instead of glucose. And D'Agostino believes this can have a huge impact on energy levels and mental clarity and even potentially fighting disease.
So instead of constantly snacking to keep your energy up, you're switching your body's primary fuel source.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. And it's important to approach these kinds of dietary changes with caution and, consult a healthcare professional. But what's really interesting is that D'Agostino isn't just promoting a fad diet. He's presenting a well-researched argument backed by, scientific evidence about how manipulating our metabolism can have these profound effects on our health.
Okay, so I'm starting to see a pattern here. Ferriss seems to be drawn to these people who are really pushing boundaries and challenging conventional wisdom when it comes to health.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about physical health. Remember Wim Hof, the Iceman?
Oh, yeah.
So his method combines cold exposure with these specific breathing techniques, which he claims can have incredible physical and mental benefits. And it's all about, tapping into the power of that mind-body connection.
Now, I've tried a cold shower or two, but full-on ice baths, that's next level. Do you think there's something to this idea of, pushing our limits to unlock some hidden potential?
It's definitely a question worth exploring. Ferriss himself even experimented with Hof's method and reported, pretty remarkable results.
Yeah.
And it speaks to a broader theme in the book, this idea that we're often capable of much more than we realize.
That's pretty empowering, actually.
It is.
And, it's not all about these really extreme practices either. Ferriss also features people like Jason Namer, who promotes acro-yoga. So it's this blend of yoga, acrobatics, and therapeutic elements.
Yeah, acro-yoga emphasizes trust, connection, and this playful movement. It's a great example of how fitness can be more than just physical exertion.
Right.
It can be a source of joy and community and even personal growth.
I love that. It's like finding that sweet spot between pushing your limits and nurturing your well-being. But Ferriss doesn't stop there. He also challenges us to think critically about how we even define health in the first place. He features Dr. Justin Major, who kind of critiques the way we often oversimplify, health markers.
This is where things get really interesting. Major argues that we shouldn't just blindly accept labels like good or bad cholesterol.
Right.
He pushes us to look at our health in a more nuanced way, considering, individual contexts and questioning those assumptions.
So instead of freaking out about a single number on a blood test, we should be looking at the bigger picture and asking, like, more informed questions.
Exactly.
It's almost like he's encouraging us to become our own health advocate.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And that critical thinking is a skill that Ferriss emphasizes throughout the book, not just in the context of health, but in every aspect of life.
And that's just a taste of the health section. I'm already thinking differently about my own well-being. I'm starting to see how these seemingly diverse approaches actually all share a common thread. This willingness to question the status quo and explore unconventional paths.
That's a great observation. And that same spirit of curiosity and innovation carries over into the wealthy section, where Ferriss dives into the mindsets and strategies of successful entrepreneurs and investors.
So what really struck me right away in this section was how many of these, titans emphasize authenticity. It's not just about chasing the biggest paycheck, It's about being true to yourself and letting that guide your decisions.
Yeah, that's definitely a recurring theme. Ferriss features people like Chris Sacca, Mark Andreessen, and Derek Sivers, who all stress the importance of, finding your own path, even if it means going against the grain.
It's like rejecting that traditional follow your passion advice.
Right.
It's more about aligning your work with your values and letting that be what drives you. But building a business, creating something from nothing, that takes a ton of work and dedication. Did any of the strategies in this section stand out to you as particularly helpful?
Oh, absolutely. One that really resonated with me was Alexis Ohanian's advice on prioritizing tasks. He's a big believer in focusing on just one crucial task at a time.
Oh, okay.
And it's so easy to get overwhelmed, right? In the million to-dos. But he argues that focusing on that one key thing can make all the difference.
Now, that's something I struggle with personally. I'm such a multitasker.
Yeah.
But I can see how spreading your energy too thin can actually, hinder your progress. Have you ever tried implementing this strategy in your own life?
I have. And it's a game changer. It forces you to be more intentional with how you spend your time and energy. And it ties in nicely with Matt Mullenweg's emphasis on long-term thinking and clear communication.
So Mullenweg, the creator of WordPress, seems to be all about playing the long game. But how does clear communication factor into that?
Well, he believes that building a successful business, especially one that's meant to last, requires making sure everyone on your team is on the same page.
Okay.
So that means communicating your vision effectively, setting clear expectations, and fostering, open dialogue. It's about creating that shared understanding of the goals and values that drive your work.
It sounds like building strong relationships is just as important as having a brilliant business plan.
Exactly. And Sacca, in particular, stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with people who both support and challenge you. He's a big believer in mentorship and having, a strong network.
That makes me think about this idea of building your tribe, which seems to come up a lot in personal development circles. It's about finding your people, those who inspire you and push you to be your best. But it's not always about seeking external validation, is it? There's also a strong emphasis on self-reliance and inner strength in this section.
Right. Ferriss includes a fascinating conversation with Nicholas McCarthy, a concert pianist who was born without a right hand. What's so inspiring about McCarthy is his focus on, specializing in what he's good at and not letting perceived limitations define him.
Wow, that's incredible. It's a reminder that success can come in many forms and that we all have unique strengths to leverage. And sometimes those strengths come from unexpected places. Have you ever heard of Scott Adams' theory about combining skills?
Oh, you mean the creator of Dilbert?
Yeah.
He argues that his success came from blending his cartooning skills with an understanding of business and humor. He encourages us to think about how our various interests and abilities can intersect to create something truly unique.
That's so interesting. It challenges this idea that we have to specialize in one specific area.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about finding the connections between our seemingly different passions and leveraging those to create something new and valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that kind of creative thinking is essential for anyone who wants to build wealth, whether through entrepreneurship or investing or any other path. Ferriss doesn't shy away from exploring unconventional approaches.
Like what? Give me some examples. I'm all ears.
But there's Seth Godin, for example.
Mm-hmm.
He advocates for generating a large volume of ideas.
Okay.
He believes that the more ideas you have, the more likely you are to, stumble upon something truly innovative.
Makes sense.
He's not afraid to experiment and fail because he sees failure as just a necessary step in the creative process.
I've heard that called the fail fast mentality, right?
Yes.
Where you embrace those mistakes as opportunities for learning and growth. It makes sense, but it can be hard to put into practice, especially when we're so conditioned to, like, fear failure.
It definitely takes a shift in perspective. And speaking of unconventional approaches, James Altucher talks about creating a real-world MBA through experience rather than traditional education.
Oh, interesting. So it's about learning by doing, taking risks, and building that diverse network of mentors and collaborators. It sounds like he's advocating for a more like hands-on approach to business and personal development.
Exactly. And that hands-on experience can lead to unexpected opportunities and insights. He emphasizes the importance of investing, but not just in the financial sense.
Right.
He encourages us to invest in ourselves, in our relationships, and in experiences that will shape who we are.
There seems to be this theme emerging here about challenging conventional wisdom and finding what works for you. But isn't that a bit risky? I mean, these are successful people, but their paths are anything but traditional.
That's true. But Ferriss isn't saying we should blindly copy their approaches. He's presenting these diverse perspectives to encourage us to think outside the box and question our assumptions about what it takes to succeed.
Okay, so it's more about taking inspiration from their journeys and adapting those insights to our own unique circumstances. It's about being open to new possibilities and finding our own definitions of wealth and success.
Exactly. And that open-mindedness is crucial as we move into the wisdom section, where Ferriss delves into deeper questions of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment.
Ooh, I'm ready to get philosophical.
Yeah.
What kind of wisdom nuggets await us in this final section?
Well, Ferriss kicks things off with B.J. Miller, a palliative care physician who has this really unique perspective on life and death. His insights on finding joy in fleeting moments are, particularly powerful, especially in a world that's constantly pushing us to, strive for more.
So it's about appreciating the simple things, like a beautiful sunset or a shared meal with loved ones. It sounds like he's encouraging us to savor those moments, however small they may seem, and recognize their significance. But life isn't always sunshine and roses, right? How does Ferriss address those challenges and hardships that are inevitable in any human experience?
Well, he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. He includes perspectives from people who faced, immense challenges and emerged stronger. One of the most striking examples is Jocko Willink, a retired Navy SEAL commander.
Oh, I've heard of him. He's all about discipline and pushing through adversity. What kind of wisdom does he offer in the book? Wow, what a journey. We've explored health, wealth, and wisdom with Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans, and I don't know about you, but I am feeling so energized by all these incredible insights. But I think with so much information packed into this one book, it can be helpful to kind of step back and see what really stands out.
Yeah, for sure. It's easy to get caught up in the individual stories and advice, but what are the overarching themes? What connects these titans? And most importantly, what are the key takeaways that our listeners can actually apply to their own lives?
One thing that really struck me throughout this entire deep dive was this emphasis on authenticity. It's not just about finding your passion or pursuing a specific career path. It's about being true to yourself in every aspect of your life. That seems to be a common thread among all of these successful individuals, no matter what their field or background is.
I totally agree, and it ties in really well with this idea of building genuine relationships. Think about Chris Sacca, Derek Sivers, even Matt Mullenweg. They all talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who support and challenge you, people who inspire you to be your best self.
Yeah, it's like finding your tribe, right? That
Yeah.
community of people who get you and who you can be your authentic self around. But it's not just about finding the right people, it's also about communicating effectively with them. Remember Matt Mullenweg's advice on clear communication?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about getting your point across. It's about making sure that everyone is truly on the same page, working towards that shared vision. It makes me think about my own team at work and how important it is to foster that kind of open dialogue and collaboration.
For sure. And, that takes us back to the importance of taking action.
Yeah.
Do you remember Alexis Ohanian's tip about focusing on one crucial task at a time?
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get bogged down in busy work and feel like you're constantly just spinning your wheels. But prioritizing that one key thing, that one action that's actually going to move the needle forward, it can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried implementing that strategy in your own life?
To be honest, I'm still working on it. I have such a tendency to jump between tasks and try to do too many things at once. But I have noticed that when I can really focus on that one crucial task, I'm so much more productive and effective. It's almost like I'm tapping into this different level of energy and focus.
Yeah, it's about being intentional with your time and energy. And it's not just about individual effort. Remember Sebastian Junger's emphasis on community.
Yes.
He highlights the importance of finding your tribe, those people who inspire and support you, who challenge you to grow, and who you can rely on when things get tough.
That's so important. It's a good reminder that we don't have to go it alone. We all need those support systems, whether it's our family, friends, colleagues, or even like online communities. And it's also about recognizing that even the most successful people face challenges and setbacks. Brian Koppelman being so open about his struggle with depression was so powerful. It's a reminder that we're not alone, and that reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
It's about building resilience and finding ways to cope with those inevitable ups and downs. And it's about recognizing that those challenging experiences, while difficult, can often lead to profound growth and transformation. Think about Amelia Boone and her ability to just bounce back from injuries.
Yeah.
It's that resilience, that mental toughness that allows her to keep pushing her limits and achieving those incredible things.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? But it's not about seeking out pain or hardship. It's about recognizing that those experiences, when approached with the right mindset, can actually make us more resilient and resourceful. And I think amidst all the striving and pushing, it's important to remember to savor the journey. B.J. Miller's insights on finding joy in those everyday moments, those really resonated with me. It's so easy to get caught up in the pursuit of those big goals and achievements, but it's those small moments of beauty and connection. Those are the things that make life rich and meaningful.
He's reminding us to slow down, appreciate the present moment, and cultivate a sense of gratitude for all that we have. And that's something that Maria Popova echoes with her emphasis on intentional living, right?
Yeah.
It's about choosing how we spend our time and energy.
Yeah.
And making sure that those choices align with our values and priorities. It's about designing a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
And sometimes that means challenging conventional wisdom and forging our own paths, even if it feels scary. Jocko Willink reminds us that discipline is the key to freedom. Not in a restrictive way, but in the sense of having that self-control to make choices that are aligned with our goals and values. It's about setting ourselves up for success by establishing healthy habits and routines, but also being adaptable and open to new experiences.
I like that. What about Scott Belsky's concept of vagabonding?
Oh, yeah.
It's about stepping outside of our comfort zones, embracing uncertainty, and being open to those unexpected detours that life throws our way. Those experiences, while challenging, can often lead to incredible growth and new perspectives.
It's all about finding that balance, discipline and spontaneity, action and reflection, ambition and contentment, but most importantly, being true to yourself throughout the entire process. It's about recognizing that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to life. We all have our own unique strengths, challenges, and aspirations. And it's up to us to take these tools, these insights from the Titans, and find what works for us.
Beautifully said. And as we wrap up this deep dive into Tools of Titans, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. If all these incredibly diverse individuals with their unique paths and perspectives could find success and fulfillment, what does that tell us about the potential that is within each of us?
That's a powerful question. Maybe the real takeaway here is that there is no limit to what we can achieve if we're willing to be curious, open-minded, and committed to our own growth. It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns, and trusting that we have the strength and resilience to navigate whatever comes our way.
Exactly. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning. Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans is a treasure trove of wisdom, and we encourage you to explore it further and uncover your own gems of insight. Who knows, maybe you'll even find yourself inspired to become a Titan in your own right.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the minds of Titans. We hope you found it inspiring, insightful, and maybe even a little bit life-changing.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Thanks for tuning in to Sam's Summaries. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all of Sam's original summaries, which you can download as PDFs, as well as other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.